co-founded a fintech called ZeroPay, which was a B2C BNPL, buy now pay later. We use technology, we use data science, and then we help them unlock this working capital. When it comes to finance, the biggest challenge for any company today is the working capital. See, regulation is always a blessing. Regulation actually gives you a framework to protect all the key stakeholders: the user, companies, banks, and NBFCs. So that way the entire ecosystem is taken care. Challenge is now to build a structured product which are really useful for the end users. And if we are able to do it, which is happening, you see UPI is a revolution in India. Finance is evergreen. We are one of the world's fastest growing economy.
Welcome to another episode of House of Acquaintances, where we simplify all things tech and finance for you. Today we have with us the co-founder of QuID and ZeroPay, Mr. Vikram. He describes himself as being fascinated by the world of finance and strategy. I mean, it makes sense since he has spent almost 2 decades in this field. Let's welcome Vikram to the show and learn more about him and his journey in finance. Welcome, Mr. Vikram. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on the show.
For sure. And let's start off with an introduction about yourself, your journey.
Great. Had a beautiful childhood, fully fun-based, loving parents without any expectations from me. Was always curious as a kid, wanted to understand things, understand more about the world. Started my journey with Standard Chartered, first with Kotak Securities and then with Standard Chartered Bank. Post that, I moved to Industrial Finance Corporation of India, and from there I was part of Acharya Group. It is after that I figured out that I need to start up. So then started my own fintech, co-founded a fintech called ZeroPay, which was a B2C BNPL, buy now pay later. And post that, here I am with QuID. QuID is my second startup, which is a B2B BNPL.
Okay. Can you tell me more about QuID's offerings?
Yeah. So QuID is primarily a supply chain fintech.
Okay.
So what we do is we help anchors, companies and distributors, D2C brands, unlock their working capital. So what we do is we onboard them. We provide working capital solutions using tech to these players. So the challenge for these companies like brands, distributors and D2C brands is that they'll have to pay in advance when they buy, for any goods or raw materials.
For sure, yeah.
But when they have to collect, they need to wait. They need to wait for 15, 20, 30 days. So it is this issue which blocks their working capital. That is where we as QuID pitch in. Right?
Okay.
We use technology, we use data science, and then we help them unlock this working capital.
Okay.
We have partnered with banks and NBFCs, and we offer them this solution wherein once the supplier raises the invoice, he immediately gets his money upfront, deducting the interest cost, and then the buyer of the supplier gets to pay later. So we enable this using technology. That is exactly what QuID does.
So, Mr. Vikram, since you've co-founded not just one but 2 startups, please tell me more about this interest, this passion you have in finance.
So I never thought I'll be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
It happened. I never thought I should plan and become an entrepreneur. But the idea of trying to understand certain pain points led me to start something on my own. That was the thing. So as I said, when you look at balance sheets of any companies, hidden inside is the data, which clearly tells you that there is either a problem or an opportunity. Now, unlocking that made me think in different directions to come out with solutions which are innovative, solutions which addresses pain points of key stakeholders.
True.
So I was always in this direction, more into understanding balance sheets, more into reading markets, trying to understand how markets perceive certain companies. Why are some companies valued more? Why are other companies, though they are doing good, but investors do not invest? Such of these thoughts were always I was thinking about those. When it comes to finance, the biggest challenge for any company today is the working capital.
Correct.
So that always made me think, how can this be addressed? Right. So in my previous startup, which was ZeroPay, that was mostly consumer based. What we used to do along with my co-founder, Mr. Krishna Basani, what we used to do is we ask retailers, users to download the app, wherein they buy products. Let's say you want to buy a mobile worth 25,000 rupees. You may or may not have that much amount to upfront pay 25,000 rupees. Or even if you have, you may not immediately spend upfront that 25,000 rupees. So we came out with this concept where we said, okay, you download the app, buy the phone that you wish to. When you buy on our app, ZeroPay app, it immediately gets converted into 3 EMIs. And then that's interest free because the brand is bearing the interest cost on behalf of, with a partner bank in between. Now that gives people that power to spend, right? The power to save and then spend. That was the thought process. Again, it was a kind of working capital issue. But the same template, when you copy paste to a company, what happens is even they have the same issue. They want to buy something, they want to sell, right? They want to trade. But it so happens that when they buy, they'll have to make payment in advance, right? But when they receive, they'll have to wait 30, 40, 50, sometimes 6 months also, depending on different industries. So this gap makes them, their working capital gets choked. That is where we pitch in. What we do at QuID is, we say, okay, you onboard on our platform. Now you load your invoice. This invoice is sent to your purchaser. He accepts that invoice. Once he accepts that invoice, the QuID's partner bank will deposit that money to the company. So today 10 o'clock you raise the invoice, 3 p.m. you have the money in your bank account. Otherwise, you should wait for 20, 30, 45 days, up till 60 days sometimes, to recover that money for the goods which you have sold. So using technology as a platform, we are solving this issue. So the root is again trying to solve problems the companies face. And technology can do wonders when you have a team in place. So that is what I was always believed in.
So I have a question to ask you. More likely it's looked at as a bane than a boon. And even our regulatory authorities are keeping an eye on the BNPL space.
Right.
What is your take on this?
See, regulation is always a blessing, I'll tell you.
Absolutely,
Right?
100%.
When there is a regulation, if it cleans up the industry,
True.
right? That is my firm belief. And it also allows good companies to survive and grow.
Right. It
Right.
weeds out the more.
Exactly. So if you look at BNPL as a space, lot of companies, lot of startups, I'm not speculating, not generalizing, but there were few companies which did a lot of mis-selling to the users.
Yeah.
They charged very high interest rates, created a lot of fear in the minds of people that, okay, BNPL is bad. But that is not the case. Now, if you talk about regulation actually gives you a framework to protect all the key stakeholders.
True.
Regulator protects the user. The regulator also protects companies, fintech, right, startups. It also protects banks and NBFCs. So that way the entire ecosystem is taken care. The problem comes when we deviate from the regulatory framework. If you use it properly. And for fintechs, if you follow the guidelines, if you follow the regulatory guidelines, they grow very fast. So that's my take on that.
Now let's talk about the fintech surge in India. Currently, I think, according to one report I read, we are the third highest when it comes to global fintech count. So how important is this, and what's going forward? What can we see more in the fintech space?
We have just started.
Yeah, for
Right?
sure.
We have just started. We will see a tremendous amount of growth when it comes to fintech. See, typically, if you look at Indian markets, Indian economy, banks were initiated for a purpose. Post-independence, banks had a clear mandate. They need to make sure the economic growth gets delivered to the lowest possible. Yes, I mean, even for the root. But today, that is not the thing. Today, banking has a different game. So we have crossed that stage, and today it is more about empowering these users. And then that is where you see private banks, NBFCs coming in. Using data and technology, they are changing the game. So we have just started in terms of fintech surge that you referred. We have just started. You will see more action in terms of account aggregators, the kind of tools and softwares that are being built today using AI, the kind of open data that is available. Today, there's for any fintechs, we have a lot of data points available, very authentic based data points. You have RTOs giving away data APIs. You have banks giving away a lot of data points. I mean, within the regulatory framework. Using this data, that the challenge is now to build or structure products which are really useful for the end user. And if we are able to do it, which is happening, you see UPI is a revolution in India.
Absolutely.
So you will see a lot of such things for two reasons. One is the technology, AI based, two, open data. So it's just a beginning, and we will have a huge amount of growth in fintech.
Let's talk about how important strategy is to finance.
Okay. So as Peter Drucker says, strategy, not for finance, for any aspects of the business, it's core. The reason why it becomes critical for finance is that finance covers all aspects of business. Now, if you look at, let's take an example. If you look at airline industries, we all know that Indigo is one company which is profitable. We all say that. But if you deep dive into their financials, what you'll understand is the profitability is not only because of ticket sales. The profitability is also because of the fact that Indigo buys aircrafts in bulk, sells it to a leasing company, leases it
the
back.
sales and lease
right?
back model, yeah.
Right? They lease it back. Now, when they do this, they achieve 2-3 things. One, the profitability. It improves cash flow. 3, you are asset light because the leasing company is owning the aircrafts.
Correct, yes.
They maintain, they pay insurance on behalf of you. You just rent it out and pay a rent. Now, this is strategy. Right? This becomes critical. Otherwise, if you look at other airline companies, they are literally buying aircrafts on their balance sheet and then trying to run the business. So if you compare, these are two different aspects of businesses. There are companies who come out with very good strategies and they grow very quickly. The quality of decisions. Same is the case, another example if I have to quote, is the case with your McDonald's. Now all of us know they sell French fries, burgers, all these things. But again, if you were to dig deep, what you will understand if you are looking at their balance sheet is, you will know that they actually make more money from rental income as compared to sales from restaurant businesses. So that's the strategy. What they do is they ask because of their brand value, what they do is they ask the franchisee to take franchisee from the brand franchisee, and then they offer them the real estate. So in the sense, McDonald's is actually gaining more from real estate play rather than the income from restaurants. So this defines some businesses. There are a lot of businesses. Some of them are very good at strategy. Some of them, they do regular business. The companies which have been successful today, these are the companies which have understood the market, have defined very clear, sharp, matured strategies.
So how do you think the future for strategy and finance is looking?
Finance is evergreen. We have, as I said, in India, banking has just started. All these days we were thinking about traditional banking products, but fintechs being in place, they're actually helping banks grow. So a lot of people tell me that fintechs and banks are competing. I disagree. I would say that fintechs and banks are collaborating, and that is the best part. So in terms of finance, we have just started. You will see a surge because there is a strong collaboration between fintechs and banks. Just to give you an example, let's say QuID. Right? QuID works with multiple lending partners. QuID works with multiple, as a marketplace model. We work with multiple NBFCs. We work with multiple banks. In the sense, we are taking products from these banks and NBFCs and delivering it to the end user. So it has just started. I see a huge growth coming in next couple of years, or maybe the next decade belongs to us. Fintech and banking.
I think every sector in India will say that.
Absolutely.
The next decade belongs to us. Okay. So what problems do you think supply chain faces in the business sector of India?
Great. So if you look at supply chain in any industry, you have a manufacturer and then you have an end user. In between this value chain, you have multiple stakeholders. Now let's take example of FMCG. There's a brand, HUL, for example. They get their products manufactured from a outsourced manufacturer. Right? So they place the order, the product gets manufactured, they have the brand. Now HUL gives this product to a distributor, maybe a super distributor or to a super stockist. Now under him there are distributors. Now under this distributor there is a retailer and then the consumer. So this is the supply chain. If you carefully look at this value chain, I would call, what happens is the distributor, when he has to place order from HUL and buy goods from HUL, as I said earlier, he has to make payment in advance. Same is the case between the brand and the distributor. Today in India we have a lot of D2C brands. Now, barring big brands, the D2C brands, new generation D2C brands, they will have to pay these manufacturers well in advance and then get the brand product ready. But the same D2C brand, when they supply to stores, they'll have to wait for collections. Right? This is the problem which me and my co-founder wanted to address. Right? It is a huge problem. To give a number to this, to put a number to this, this is 300 billion USD problem. And as per RBI report, the MSME credit gap in Indian markets is around 25 lakh crore.
Okay.
That's the addressable market. And there are a lot of players who are doing good to address the same problem, but the market size is humongous. It's huge. So this is one important problem which the supply chain as an industry is facing. The reason why we are having good solution, not only QuID, like QuID there are many fintechs, is the fact that today we have robust technology which can address these pain points.
Now I want to ask you a couple of stock market questions.
Yeah.
You invest.
Yeah, I do.
Are you a stocks guy? Are you a real estate guy? Are you...
Combination of all.
Oh, okay. So do you think an investment advisor is required when investing in stock market?
Without a doubt. I started my career in Kotak as a analyst.
Okay. Huh.
But today if you ask me, will I do my own research and invest in stocks? No, definitely not. I would rather collaborate or work with advisors who dedicate themselves, who get updated on the market, who track the market, who understand different aspects of what's going on in the market, who spend a lot of time researching the stocks. Because if I were to do it on my own, it would be a big issue. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't risk my money. So the role of a consultant or advisor is critical because he's spending a lot of quality time researching the macroeconomic part of it, researching the industry, researching the stock. He's doing all these things. Even a lot of finance professionals today, they may not be able to spend so much of quality time tracking a stock. It's a very complex game. When you want to invest in a stock, it's not that easy. You need to track it. Every quarter there is a result. There are a lot of ups and downs. There are a lot of events. And that is one aspect. The second aspect is at the portfolio level. How do we de-risk or how do we price the risk? So it's not that I can simply buy 10 stocks put together and then I cannot think that this portfolio will grow. Because each of these are correlated. The risk levels are correlated. So we need to have advisors who will tell us about portfolio allocation, how much in each of these asset classes and what is the risk mitigation strategy, which is again aligned to your short-term and long-term personal financial goals. Right?
Okay.
Mapping this becomes very critical, and that exactly is what the advisors do.
Okay, good. And any advice that you would give to new entrants in the stock market?
Okay, and simple advice would be start early.
Okay.
Start investing very early, no matter what. Whatever is the amount, go for SIP or regular investment.
Yeah.
Because when we were young, when somebody is very young, the tendency is to spend more because we are just out of college. We want to enjoy life. That's all good, but starting early matters a lot.
Okay.
And then being consistent, taking the SIP route, also having that insurance component in place.
True.
Right, to cover your family. So these are my simple words to the young generation.
Okay. My next question is on the India's growth story. Everybody is big on India's growth story now. So what is your take on that?
I do agree. I firmly believe we are one of the world's fastest growing economy. For the simple reason is we are a consumption driven economy. Right?
True. Yes.
We are not in that stage where we have... Look at people around you. A lot of us still want to have bikes. We still want to buy. There are a lot of first-time car buyers. You will see a lot of... The data says a lot of people are buying the refrigerator for the first time. So the consumption levels are very high. We are a consuming economy and the domestic consumption is something which is kicking in. And because of the stable governance that we have had last 10 years and going forward, from 1990s, we have had a very good economic policy making.
True. Very true.
And the fact that now because of internet technology we are the data sharing is very open. We now today know what is happening in US. We know what is happening in Europe, right? Earlier this was not the case. The information was not there was no free flow of information. Correct. Now if you look at all these factors, now India as a country I believe will definitely hit 8% GDP year on year.
Okay.
And we are growing aggressively.
That's something that young investors don't understand.
But today things are changing because of these apps. We are able to... The learning is huge.
The learning is definitely huge.
I believe the youngsters catch it very quickly.
Long-term investing?
they are at that age, they want to
Okay.
try and
Risk-taking is quite
understand
high, that's
the
why.
risk-taking ability. I mean, that's there, but in this, if you look at it in a different way, there's an angle to it that gives them a intro to market, right?
True.
So when I was in +2, I lost a lot of money trading,
Okay.
right? And that actually, that's the beautiful lesson you can learn.
For
Right?
sure.
No textbook, no classroom
No,
can
I
deliver
I
that
swear,
lesson.
yeah.
So only when you lose money, then you will understand the importance of long-term investing, the importance of discipline, the importance of consistency. In a way, it's like your tuition fees. Right? When I lost my money, my father said, "Okay, it's a tuition fee. You're paid, and now you see how or what best can be learned, how you can recover that money." That's it. That's work. That works.
Okay, let's move on to some personal questions. Please tell us a little bit about your family and how they support you through this journey.
It's been a great support from them, without which it wouldn't have happened. As I said, I am blessed to have a very loving family. Parents are very loving. To me, my dad is my hero, and they do not expect anything from my childhood days. They never expected me to do well in exams. There was no expectation.
That doesn't really happen in every Indian household.
I was blessed. So that way I was lucky. And today, my wife, my son, they're always together. They do understand what I'm doing is very complex, very hard at times. There are a lot of ups and downs, but they're always with me. Right? The entire family, my brothers, they're always with me. And whenever I need any support, they're with me. I'm
That's
lucky.
quite nice. Did you have like a childhood dream? Would you give it a shot now?
See, in terms of dream, I don't know. I was a normal kid.
Okay.
Right? I just wanted to have fun. I would be lying if I say like in my LKG I had this dream, all these things. So nothing like that. I was a normal kid. I just wanted to have fun. But I had this interest in observing different birds.
Okay,
Right?
nice,
And later I realized it is called ornithology or something like that. But I had this. I would bunk the classes without telling my parents, then go to these places where you have some kind of forest places, where then observe these birds. That was my one very interesting thing to me. Right, came to city and then all these things changed. But if you ask me, was there a career dream in my early childhood, or even for that matter during my MBA days, I was just more interested in understanding finance. It was never about having a dream of, I'll become a CFO, or I'll become a VP of this company. I never had that kind of thought, but I just followed my curiosity. That much I can say.
Nice. And what is one personal mantra in life for you?
Stay curious.
Steak.
Always try to understand
sure.
how things work.
Okay. And what is your opinion on discipline when it comes to building a business?
That's very basic, right?
Okay.
Because when you are building a business, you are managing multiple stakeholders. You have customers, you have employees, you have your team members, you have your investors, and you have regulators watching you. So it requires a lot of hard work and discipline. You need to have processes in place, without which it doesn't work. You do things randomly, it doesn't work. You need to stick to something, follow the process. I would simply say one kick 1,000 times. Right? Kichan said, one kick 1,000 times. Keep doing it.
Okay.
When we do not do that, it so happens that you are always halfway. You are not trying to understand what exactly is the problem. So if you select any field, for example, if you select finance as a field, you got to have the discipline to understand, go deeper. That makes you more confident. You'll be able to manage the stakeholders better, manage stakeholders and their expectations better.
Okay. And if you could give an advice to your 20-year-old self, what could it be?
Do not overthink, right?
Wish.
Jump. And I would tell this to myself. If you are winning a rat race, you are still a rat.
Okay.
Do something different, very innovative. The obsession to the problem. So that can be a game changer.
Okay. So my last question is about QuID. Did you envision that QuID would raise about 5 crores? How did it feel after this?
Okay. So I had this plan of fundraising, but I never thought it would be so quick. I should thank my co-founder Subhash.
How long has it been for QuID?
QuID is now 9 to 10 months old.
Okay.
It's a startup, but we are 3-4 months in operations because a lot of time was spent in developing the tech, market research, developing the tech. We are now 3 months in operations.
Okay.
So in terms of fundraising, what I believe is I would definitely take it more as a validation of the business model, right? Validation of what we were thinking that we were trying to solve the problem. That way it is a validation, but it is also a responsibility that we have to now protect this capital, grow the business, because our investors have taken that risk of investing their money in our business. It is more of a responsibility. I would say that.
Okay, let's switch to a rapid fire round.
Yeah.
Trading or long-term investing?
Long term. I burned my fingers with trading.
Startups or big corporations?
Startups.
Okay. What makes a good team?
Humbleness, right?
Okay.
Staying together,
Okay.
key skills, and obsession to problem solving.
Now describe a normal day in your life in 3 words.
My God. It's mostly interacting with different key stakeholders, planning, right? Understanding the pain points of our customers and clients, and then structuring a product which will solve this problem. Discussion on technology.
Do you binge watch TV shows or one episode at a time?
One episode at a time.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you don't have the time. Okay. Remote work or in-person office?
In-person office.
Recommend a book that has changed your life.
Blitzscaling by Reid Hoffman.
Okay.
It's a wonderful book. I love reading it. You have. I also like reading Fooled by Randomness by Taleb. These are 2 books which have given me very deeper insights of different aspects of life and business.
Okay. And what is the best financial advice you give to everyone?
Yeah, as I said, start early. Start early, even if it is a very small amount. I would definitely say timing matters. You have to start early, and then have an insurance. That's key. A lot of us do not value the insurance as a product. We need to have insurance, especially when you are young. You need to immediately buy an insurance to protect your family. Start early, be consistent, look for investment in equities, because equity is the only asset class or instrument which can beat inflation.
Yeah,
right?
True.
So these are the simple things.
Okay. And that's actually a wrap. Thank you so much, Mr. Vikram. We learned so much about your company, the BNPL space, supply chain in the business sector in India. We learned about the investments and India's growth story, etc. So thank you so much for being here with us. Any final words from your end?
I mean, nothing much. It was great talking to all of you. Thank you, Merlin. It was pleasure talking. A lot of insights.
Yeah.
I'm carrying a lot of points from this discussion as a learning. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. If you like this video, please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.